Hey, Gabriel Blake.
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
Where are we today?
In our respective apartments, but good news. As of today, San Francisco went from red to orange, which means indoor stuff is going to be opening at 25% capacity. So, fingers crossed, we find ourselves in a loud dive bar soon.
Yeah, dear audience, it is like the times for barely listenable podcasts are coming
They're
back.
coming back.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. I mean, I know that the gyms were reopening already, and I heard from a couple of restaurant people that they were a bit concerned about reopening indoor dining, but I didn't know that it was like so close.
Yeah, movie theaters in San Francisco, October 6th.
Oh, okay.
So it was great that Cinemark came out with their private viewing party packages, 5 days before.
It may still be worth it for them because at 25% capacity, if it's a small room, that actually goes, yeah.
And
Maybe
they probably don't have any movies to play right now anyway, so when we're allowed to go back, it's going to be shitty reruns from 80s movies.
Oh no! Actually, when I was in Utah and Arizona, the places that I stopped at that they had cinemas and they were open, they were playing the New Mutants, Tenet, and there was another one that they also opened during this time. But they're like a handful of movies. And with handfuls, I mean 5.
Yeah, that's what was playing in the North Bay because San Rafael already opened, and it was the New Mutants, Tenet, and the sequel to Train to Busan.
Oh, it's a sequel.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Or at least it takes place in the same universe because it's Train to Busan presents, and then whatever the title is.
Gotcha. That's the Wes Anderson movie?
Train to Busan?
Oh, that's like the zombies one, the Korean.
That's Korean zombie film. I was like, what?
No, but then... Yeah, instead of actually just killing the zombies or running away from it, they have like conversations non-stop with them for 90 minutes, like very snarky.
Claymation dogs.
Exactly. No, it's the one that I was thinking is like the French Dispatch from Wes Anderson that it also comes out. Oh, it actually they delayed it to next year, and I was mixed.
Wasn't Tilda Swinton also in a Korean train movie?
Oh yeah, in Snowpiercer.
Yeah, Jesus.
From Bon Joon-ho. That movie was, it was something. Yeah, and
I'll use any excuse to bring up Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, and I was mistaking it with the Darjeeling Limited.
Oh, that's a good train movie. I liked that movie.
You did? Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I will have to watch it because I think that I fell asleep in the first 10 minutes.
I was all part of the hype because they released that prequel, like a 15-minute short film with Jason Bateman and Natalie Portman on iTunes when iTunes was like a big deal, and then they released the full film, and so you kind of have this little backstory. It was really good marketing for the film.
But they were not in the movie.
Sorry, I said Jason Bateman, and I meant Jason
Schwartzman?
Yes, Sofia Coppola's cousin.
Oh, I didn't know that was cousin.
And Natalie Portman is not in the film, but that's why it was cool, is that he's devastated about his wife the whole time, and you never see her, but you saw her in the prequel.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's a cool idea. Yeah, and I had to say that Jason Schwartzman is someone that when he has like the mustache, he looks like he was born for a Wes Anderson movie. He's like Helena Bonham Carter and Tim Burton. He's like, she was born for being a Tim Burton movie.
He was also born to be in Sofia Coppola movies because Marie Antoinette, he is perfect. He's perfect as the king.
Okay, I didn't watch that one.
Oh.
I shouldn't have said that.
We're adding that to
What I was saying is like, I'm regretting saying this because I know what the outcome is going to be. This guy hates me this much.
When that movie came out, the reviews said no one will watch this except for women and the gays, and I'm like, yeah, even I'm in.
Yeah, but it doesn't make it bad. Okay, no, that's fair. So what did we watch today?
We watched the 1998 Tom Tykwer international sensation, Run Lola Run. Or
Or in
what's
what?
it in German? In German, you just said it in German earlier.
Oh, Lola Rent.
Yeah,
Rent.
there you go.
Rent. Lola
Yeah,
Rent.
that sounded much more German.
And I think that this was actually my pick. I think that you originally...
100% it was
Yeah.
your pick.
You added originally to the spreadsheet, and I stole it from you. But now after watching it, you want to just put it on me? Okay. But yeah, I'm not ashamed. I picked this one. I think that we watched like very aesthetic movies recently. You know, I think that the last couple of movies were like, Amores Perros. But before that, it was The Science of Sleep, being John Malkovich, and even Donnie Darko. That's, except Donnie Darko, I think that the other ones, they transcend from the time that they were shot. But
Yeah,
Run,
before that, Mulholland Drive.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
been a good run.
yeah, and they were like just movies that I think that aesthetically they have like a value to it. And Run Lola Run is a movie that when I think about it, is that this movie used to define the 90s. You know, for me, you know, it's like as when I watched it for the first time, I probably was like 19 years old. I thought like this is so cool. This is like the 90s, like a video clip on 80 minutes.
Yes, it felt so 90s in a good way. I mean,
Yeah.
and to see Famke, what's her name?
Franca Potente.
Franca Potente. I always confuse her with Famke Janssen.
Yeah, but I want.
Gender Woman on Nip Tuck. That's her most famous one.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, of course, Ryan Murphy. We have to go back to Ryan Murphy every single episode.
She was also Jean Grey in X-Men. That's the joke. Is that Nip Tuck was her most famous role.
Do you know that until now I didn't connect those two roles? And I said, oh, that's true. It wasn't great.
I will never forget in Nip Tuck when she was exposed as a transsexual because her vaginal canal wasn't deep enough to take the hot doctor's cock. And that's how she got exposed. That was just, you know, Ryan Murphy, we should have known he was a visionary at that point.
He was so smart. Such an author. But in any case, going back to Run Lola Run, is like I was interested on seeing how it ages. We have also seen like other movies like the Lost Boys that we said that they were like pretty timely, but not timeless. And this movie I haven't watched it since the 2000s. But everyone that I know that they watch it, they have like a really good memory of the movie.
I would also agree with that. I saw it, it must have been right around 2000, between 2002 and 2005. And I remember thinking, wow, this is a super cool movie.
Yeah. But yeah, what is this movie about?
This movie is about Franca Potente, Lola, and the film starts where she picks up the phone, an analog phone, which they did not have cell phones in 1998. That was very strange to me. She accepts a phone call from her boyfriend, and her boyfriend screwed up like an illegal money delivery. He was supposed to give 100,000 German marks to, which throwback to pre-EU days, to some sort of mob boss.
I mean, that's part of the UE, but it's in pre-Euro. Euro is something different.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you for educating me, European.
No worries. That's what I'm here. You damn American.
So he calls her all panicked. He lost 100,000 marks, and he has to meet the boss in 20 minutes, and the guy's going to kill him. So Lola has to figure out a way to come up with 100,000 marks, and they're kind of like, they clearly don't have money. 100,000 notes is like, or 100,000 marks is like out of the question. So she starts running, and the poor actress runs for the next 80 minutes, and she goes, begs her shitty dad, who's a banker, to lend her the money. He kicks her out, and she ends up helping the boyfriend rob a store, and she gets shot and killed. Now, this wasn't a spoiler alert because this happens like early on in the movie and has very little relevance to the rest of the film, because at this point, everything resets to that phone call, and she tries it again, and then tries it a third time. And each time...
Yeah, what I was going to say is that maybe it's better to just say that it's a movie where the same story is retold 3 different ways, with the slightly different decisions that the characters do, and you actually get to see the kind of consequences of their actions. So it's
like a video game. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure video game.
Sure, yeah, what I was going to say is that basically it's like a representation in a movie of the chaos theory, and the butterfly effect. Because like sometimes doing like something stupid like, okay, I actually bump into this character, is that actually just changed the life of everyone that they cross paths with.
Yeah. And there are these very, very cool, so this is the thing I had to remember, that this was incredibly original at the time. So nothing feels like a normal movie. When she bumps into like people on the street, there's this really cool device where the entire life of that person is shown through a series of pictures really, really quickly. So even just somebody walking on the street, you realize, oh, that she had her baby taken away, so she kidnapped another baby, and then she won the lottery.
Yeah,
which was really cool. Like, so many of the effects were interesting and fun, and this movie feels so fast-paced.
Yeah, and that's something that is like I recall that maybe this connects to Amores Perros, that it also has like a bit more of a fast-paced style,
Yeah.
Is that they're like these kind of movies that is, okay, we know that part of what we're trying is that this kind of frenetics is that you're always like in the edge of your seat, about like, oh my God, what is going to be like happening? It's like 75 minutes, I think the movie is something that is like, I love about it, that is, okay, you have like perfect length for what you're doing.
Oh yeah, if he had stretched this out any longer, it would have been like, it didn't feel long at all, but if he had done that, it would have been a disaster.
Yeah, but the thing is like, it feels like a video clip of 6 minutes, maybe a long video clip, that's true, but it's like, it's a video clip, it's like a 90s video clip in a 72-minute movie. So you were talking about like the effects and the resource that they use, so would you say that all of them work for you?
Each of the 3 stories?
Well, I mean, there's the idea of having like 3 stories, or having like the flash forward about like what happened with this person, or just having like the kind of editing that they have about like just splitting the screen into what you see like someone else having like the normal life, and Franca running, is that, do all those resources, those kind of editing tricks work for you?
So here is where the film didn't work for me. There are films that are groundbreaking for the time, and then still when they age, they kind of keep that sort of freshness and interesting thing. For me, I do think that whenever I saw this, it was new and fresh and exciting, and this time I'm like, okay, well, we've seen so many filmmakers do all of these things now, probably because of Tom Tykwer, but I don't feel like it aged that well. And so without the context of understanding, hey, this was the first of its kind, I would kind of just dismiss it.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't enjoy the movie, it's just I feel it lost something over the last, 22 years.
Yeah, I mean, the problem that I have with this movie, and we were discussing about this before we started recording, is like we both rented it on Amazon, but the price for buying the movie, it was like renting it twice. And I thought, look, this is a movie that I watched like maybe twice or 3 times back in the day, and I love it. And I talked with so many people that they like this movie that I think that it would be cool for buying it now, because eventually I'm going to be like seeing it with someone, I'm going to be like showing it with, to someone that they haven't watched it. And I bought it for posterity, and after watching it this time, I felt like, I don't know if I ever want to watch this movie again. It's not that it's bad, but it's true that it's more of a movie that deliberately they are sacrificing substance for the sake, for the aesthetics that they have. And it's great. I mean, from that perspective, it's great. And in the 90s, that worked amazingly. It was mind-blowing. Is that you were doing like an incredible video clip. I can remember like just listening to the soundtrack non-stop that is created in part by Tom Tykwer, and he sang like the scene, the songs that they have lyrics, they are like sung by Franca Potente, and I think that also by Tom Tykwer. So everything is like pretty homemade, but it works. You know, it works as a video clip from the 90s. But the thing is that we have departed from that style. That style, by today's standards, feels aged. It's a very visual, artistic swallow style.
It's like a music video. It's not like cinema. That sounds pretentious, but it's so empty, the film, in terms of story, that it relies fully on the visuals. And when the visuals have been done so many times, it's still cool. And I would recommend anybody that hasn't seen it to at least watch it once.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, is this a perfect film? Is it La Ventura? Definitely not.
Look, I would say that La Ventura also has like it's experimental stuff, but I appreciate that there is like more work into the experimental stuff. It was not like, okay, Antonioni just saying like, okay, what is cool right now? Can I replicate what is cool in, I don't know, like a different medium in cartoons and just make it look cool? Here is like, no, I mean, you can't. And Tom Tykwer, what he did is like, what is cool right now in video clips? What is cool in the 90s? Because even the scenes when he's mixing up like the cartoons on the movie, I felt like, yeah, in the 90s, I remember watching this and I felt like, that's pretty cool, like pretty edgy. But today it's like, what does this have? It almost feels cheap.
Every film has a part where they turn into a cartoon at some point. Even the Paris Hilton documentary did that.
God, I mean, I was thinking about The Fall right now when they changed to the clay animation. It's like, that was cool. Creepy.
It was really cool.
Yeah, that part is cool, but it's like, this feels like low effort. Everything feels, when I started to analyze and, you know, scrap a bit into it, is like, everything feels low budget here.
Yep, I would agree. It did feel low budget. In fact, it was weird. The big important bank had all of these like grasses growing up in front of it, like even in front of the stairs, so much so that you knew this is not like a bank. It was very strange.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Tom Tykwer had no money and this was a passion project and he somehow got it off the ground doing almost everything himself.
He had like a very...
If you look at the blocking, he could have filmed each scene with such little time with the actors, except for Franca. But like the dad and the mistress and...
Yeah, I mean, basically it's like every scene that they show on the first story, you can just have like the same actors, like just repeating the story, you know, like the scene with some kind of gist, slightly gist, but there is no change to it. So I was just thinking
Maybe this is a result of not having a budget. I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, the budget is like 1.75 million. That is okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that is an okay budget for Germany in late 90s, you know? So I don't know. I felt like a bit torn. It's like, as you said, it's a movie that I could still see myself like recommending to other people about, like, hey, look, this is like a cool movie from the 90s. It's like, this is 90s. This is like, you know, you had to distill down all the aesthetics and not thinking about like what were the 90s about. Because if I had to think about like what were the 90s about, probably I would go with Fight Club.
Oh, interesting, because I like that film better, but I would have said The Matrix.
Sure, but it's like you are still, what I mean is like a bit from society perspective, like having some kind of message to it.
Like the nihilists.
Exactly.
Told we were going to grow up to be rock stars and we didn't.
Yep. That kind of stuff is okay, that's lost here, is that that's not in here. Is like when you actually think about like, the relationship of Lola and the father, you know, the things that, okay, what is going on here? Is that, are you trying to have like some kind of social message that the father is about to leave you because it's going to be like having an affair with her, but at the same time the mother is like just flirting with someone on the phone, you know, and the daughter feels like he's completely forgotten that the house looks amazing, but the room where Lola lives looks like garbage.
Yeah, and I fell into that rabbit hole desperately trying to find a message, and I don't think there was, except the third story, where if you haven't seen this film in 22 years, you're going to get some spoilers. The first two attempts, she does things immorally, or like they tried to rob the store, or then she tried to rob the bank, and then she relied on luck, but did everything the way he should, and everything turns out okay, which I also felt was a little like, it's not black and white like that, but no, I came to the conclusion, well, you could scrape together some sort of message. There was never a message intended, ever.
No. I mean, I think that is like I check online, I was checking something different about like, what was the budget of Lola Run? And Google like bring up like this set of questions. And one of the questions was like, what is the point of Lola Run? And I open it, it's like, I'm curious, what was the point of this thing that I just watched? And I think that the person was writing something that says something along the lines of the point of the movie was about choice and the consequences of our choice and how important it is. Like, nope. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's true. They are like choices, but it's almost everything that happens is by coincidence. It's a bit more like if she actually trips at the beginning of the movie, then at the beginning of the story, of that loop of the story, is that then she's actually a bit later than before, so she doesn't do this instead of that, So it's a bit more like, okay, I get it, but at the same time, it's like there is no message. It's just, I would say that it's like well crafted, quote unquote. I won't say that it's like a hard movie to craft, but it's a bit more like how all the elements, how he plays with them, about like, okay, if he bounce into the car is actually driven by the guy that his father is waiting, and that's the reason why he's late, and then actually drives into something else. They're like, okay, that part is okay. You thought about this a bit, not a lot,
not
a lot. You thought about like the elements, about okay, what can I change in each one of the variants. Now, when you say about like the idea, the visual resource that he uses about displaying the future of the people, I found it like completely random. I found like, sure, you could display this as you could display like something completely different. No one cares. Is that when you use it the first time, if you were a bit smarter, if you were like a bit like better writer when coming up with this, is that maybe this would have worn better. But like this is a gimmick. It's just a gimmick and not that round.
Yeah, completely. It's completely a gimmick, and I feel so torn because I also said that I don't feel like it aged well, but I said I would recommend it to people. So it's like there's something there. There is something there, and I remember as a early in my 20s, I was paying close attention to directors for the first time, and I thought this is a director I need to be paying attention to, and then he followed it up with a whole bunch of shit. So I think that maybe he's just someone who has visual style and not much else. And
well, I mean, I would say that I actually watched The Princess and the Warrior because for me it was exactly like that. This was like also like one of the first directors that I thought that is I need to watch more by him because I think that he's a visionary. And I still remember, Tom Tykwer with a smile on my face until then he did the perfume. And at that point, it's like people just say like, nope, this is garbage.
See, I absolutely loved Heaven, which was right after The Princess and the Warrior.
Yep. Did you like The Princess and the Warrior?
I didn't see that one.
I did, yeah. It's okay.
I did watch Perfume. I didn't like it. The International was super boring, and at that point in time, I had fallen in love with Closer, so I was super into that British guy. And Naomi Watts. She was in that movie, right?
Naomi Watts? In Closer?
No, in The International. Clive Owen and Naomi Watts. I loved those two. It was really hopeful. It took place in the Guggenheim. I didn't like that. And then he released Dry or 3.
Yeah.
I liked that as a closeted gay boy in Utah. I was like, I would actually be curious to watch that with you because I remember liking it, but I also remember the reviews being bad. And then he did Cloud Atlas. No, I mean, it's a clusterfuck, a dumpster fire of a career after this.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think that at that point, the Wachowski sisters, they thought that Tom Tykwer was visually appealing, that it was like the same kind of directors as they are. So that's the reason why I think that they partner for Cloud Atlas.
So visually, yes, he's compelling visually, but I think that kind of illustrates the difference between the three is that the Wachowski sisters seem to have a little bit more storytelling capacity. The scripts they write are a little bit better. I don't know.
Look, I think that we don't agree exactly about a perception of the Matrix. So let's just leave it there.
V for Vendetta?
V for Vendetta is a violation, raping directly of the comic.
Okay, so I'm going to add V for Vendetta to this list as
Holy
well as
shit. Look, if we actually add, if you add V for Vendetta, I would like you to also read the comic too. I would just give it to you.
I would love that. That would be super fun.
Yeah.
It would add a whole new dimension for our 4 listeners.
Well, we have 5. We have 8
5.
Actually. 8. According to Anchor. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, if we actually go with our regular questions, would I recommend this movie? I don't think that is bad. I don't think that is good either. I just think, and I don't think that it's like just a 5 movie. I don't think that it's like exactly on the middle. I think that is a good summary what the 90s were from an aesthetic perspective. And it's an aesthetic exercise. Is as the Lost Boys, I think that is a timely movie. It's not timeless by any means. So from that perspective, if someone tells me that, hey, I want to see like something cool from the 90s, or something cool and I actually grew in the 90s, this movie would fit.
And I always try to take into consideration when I'm rating, what were they attempting to do, and just kind of like gauge, like what were they trying to do? They were trying to make a cool 80 minutes music video like thing, and he did it. It's great in that regard. He wasn't trying to be, oh, they're going to talk about this movie in 50 years.
Yeah, no, I don't think that he was thinking about that. Then the other part is like, if I'm going to remember this movie like 5 years in the future, yeah, I remember
100%.
I remember like most of it, but it's not because it's deep or anything like that. It's because I love the soundtrack. I listen to the soundtrack like so many times, and also because it's pretty easy to remember a movie that Franca Potente is there like with this top, like fairly tight top, and she only does 2 things: running and screaming.
I just felt so bad. I was like, this must be the worst job she ever got. She just has to run and run and run and run.
Yep. Well, the camera is like, you may be a bit objectified, but this is your break, like your big breakthrough.
Which this is the reason that she was in Jason Bourne. She was Jason Bourne's big love, and that was a powerful. Anyway, I don't know.
Did she run a lot on those movies?
She gets killed a lot.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, same questions. Would I recommend it? I would. I'm honestly confused about why I say that. Will I remember this? Yeah, this film had a huge impact on me when I saw it the first time. I didn't remember the specifics, but I remember it was the same story told over and over. Would I watch it again? Maybe in 10 years when you're like, let's watch that movie again. I'd be like, okay. And then I'd have the same feeling.
And at that point, you're going to regret that you didn't buy it.
You bought it, so I'll just go to your house.
Yeah, I will watch it again, but some years in the future, maybe it's like a different person, and I can embrace the 90s in a different way, in a different light.
And also, we would rewatch it because it's 80 minutes, and it is pretty compelling for 80 minutes. I'll watch anything for 80 minutes.
No, well, I mean, I would say that we have watched some movies that they were 80 minutes that I was wishing to be done with it. Like Le Boucher.
Celine Dion goes boating.
Yeah, at the first 80 minutes, I was wishing that they were not 100 minutes more. But I also think that it has like something artistic to say. But the problem that I have with this movie is that what he has artistic to say is not his stuff. It's the 90s stuff.
Oh, I see. He doesn't have a director.
Yeah, exactly. There is no like a personal view to this. It's like I feel like everything is derivative from everything that has been successful in the 90s.
I've added like 4 films to this list since we started, but I would like to hear what you think about Heaven, especially since it was Krzysztof Kieslowski's. It was the 3rd part of a trilogy he had written, but he died before he finished the script, and he made the first 2 films, which were very good.
So I would tell you almost the same thing as I would tell you about like The Princess and the Warrior, but I barely remember those 2 movies.
Oh yeah, they're way too dense for my tastes. But that's why I liked what Tom Tykwer did, because he took this super dense thing and is like, let's make it really pretty and simple.
I mean, I remember like general traces of the story. You know, there is okay, Kate Blanchett at the beginning. She's like a victim mostly, and then she becomes like this vindicative character.
A vindictive character?
Vindictive character. No, that's I mean, I don't want to spoil anything because we haven't like just talked about it, but it's like I thought that
she's a terrorist.
I thought that she turns into a terrorist across the movie. That at the beginning, like she was like the widow of a terrorist, and she's being interviewed.
You saw it?
Yeah, I thought that I saw it. Maybe I'm like just mixing something.
No. She shows up and she tries to blow up a building and she gets arrested, and that's where she falls in love with Giovanni Ribisi, and the rest of the movie is them escaping together.
Oh, gotcha. I don't know what I thought that it was the other way around. That it was a bit more like she was like the widow of a terrorist, and she was being like interviewed because they were suspicious. The police was suspicious that she was a terrorist. And then at the end, she ends up becoming a terrorist. But I may be mixing this like completely with something else.
It's been years and years and years. So I added it. Maybe we'll watch it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I
watch the first two films too.
I would be fine like watching anything with Kate Blanchett. Is like Kate Blanchett is the opposite of what is that bimbo that you like and I hate? Jessica Chastain.
Oh, you did not just call a national treasure a bimbo.
We had talked about this many times before the podcast. I think that she's not that talented. She says she's okay. You know,
I have to say I agreed. Jose managed to convince me. Yeah, she was in like one movie I liked, and then it's just a bunch of shit. So
yeah, she's just there. She's just looking pretty there. But Kate Blanchett, I think that she can actually just support the weight of a movie. You know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like carrying it forward. So I would be fine watching it Heaven now that we have like a bit more of a perspective of her career, where her career went after that point.
I mean, especially since she just did Ocean's 8. I mean, just keep building on this like rock solid career.
I love how almost you have like something terrible ready to say about any good actor.
I was just watching a YouTube video, and the writers on Ocean's 8 said that originally she was in a relationship with they were supposed to be exes.
With who?
Kate Blanchett and America's Sweetheart.
Oh, Julia Roberts?
No,
there is another one, Kelly Kapoor?
No, she was in Speed.
Oh, Sandra Bullock?
Sandra Bullock. They're supposed to be exes, and if you pay attention, Kate Blanchett dresses like a dyke, like a lot.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I will watch Heaven if you want to watch it in the future.
Okay.
I'm like thumbs up for it, for watching it again. Okay. Do we have anything else to say about Lola Run except the scoring?
I feel like this is the least decisive we've been. We're like, we didn't like it, but kind of we did. We'd watch it again.
Well, I mean, I didn't dislike it, but at the same time, I don't know how objective I'm being. You know, I had a feeling that there is a part of my review that is based on the feeling that I had as a 90s kid. You know,
so can I tell you about my score?
Sure.
So my score, like, objectively was a 5.5, but remembering the impact that it had, like this was important, so I'm giving it a full point for what it did in the late 90s. So I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it's exactly the same score that I was going to be like giving it, exactly for the same reason. That is like, look, as a someone right now that we're in 2020, we are living a pandemic, the world is falling apart. We have like a giant Cheeto for a president in this country, your country, not my country. So I think that this is like a very upbeat movie, but I'm not in the correct kind of mindset for appreciating it anymore. So I don't know if I'm like just too jaded at this point for just looking at this and say like, yeah, this is artistically important. The only thing that I can say is that, yeah, this is artistically an MTV 80 minutes video clip.
Yeah, we just can't trust our own feelings right now.
But it's like, once again, when we actually ask our questions, I will watch this not tonight, I will watch this again because I bought it, so I can watch it, and I should watch it for just making sure that he actually he paid for buying it instead of renting it.
You only have to watch it one more time to make it.
One more time, only one more time, 80 more minutes, and it was worth it.
Well, I didn't regret watching it. I was surprised at my reaction to it. Again, it's like a paradox. It's hypocritical, right? Like I didn't like it, but I liked watching it. I don't know.
I mean, the thing is, like, I would love to actually hear the opinion of someone that it watched this movie for the first time now in 2020, because it's like
find that person.
I can. So, but from my perspective, is like I can actually just picture myself like listening to the soundtrack all the time. You know, it's like I remember listening to the song that plays while the third story starts unraveling. I wish I was a hunter, blah 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 blah. And then it was like at that point, it's like, oh, this song is amazing. And I was like listening to the soundtrack, to the lyrics, and I was like, okay, this was written by a cinema director, and it was sung by an actress.
I'm gonna have to go look up the soundtrack because I didn't know any of that. You taught me that.
Yeah. I knew it because I loved this movie back in the day. I watched it like at least 3 times.
But you didn't watch it when it came out in 1998? You watched it a couple years later?
Like 99 probably, because you had to think that it was released on 98 probably in Germany, and then you had to think about like just the propagation to other countries. So probably it was like 99 downloading it or whatever back in the day in Spain.
I was 15, so I was into different things.
Different things. Okay. Not suspicious whatsoever.
Well, I was in rural Idaho. I don't think that like Run Lola Run showed up in our local cinema on the other side of the farm.
To be completely fair, I don't think that it showed up anywhere. I think that this was like a movie that it actually just gained the cult status thanks to DVD.
So it was interesting because the New York Times Review, which I don't know if I've ever mentioned that newspaper to you, they have the standard movie reviews, and then they have film festival reviews, and they only had a film festival review of this. So yeah, maybe it was just like a film festival. It was making a buzz in the festival circuit that year, and never really made it to theaters, at least in America. I don't know. I was 15.
I mean, the thing is, like, I know people from America that they know of this movie. You know, so for example, with my ex, he remembered this movie. It's like he knew about it, and he could actually just talk about it. So. And he's not a cinephile, you know, he's not like a film enthusiastic. It's like he watches everything that he falls in front of him, but he doesn't do like an extra effort. He wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I just watched Cloud Atlas, that was garbage, but I'm curious about like this guy that he was working with, that was his sister. He would never do something like that. So it looks like this was a movie that it was just popular all around.
Well, it was an interesting watch regardless of how highly we scored it.
Yeah. So what are we watching this?
We are going to watch, and I can't believe I don't know who directed this film because we have both seen it and loved it.
Denis Villeneuve?
Oh, how could I forget that? Enemy, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and a spider.
many different spiders. And based in a Jose Saramago book.
So, oh God, I love Jose Saramago. Did you read Blindness?
No, I know, but there is a movie actually based on Blindness.
Yeah, the movie is awful. I have such high hopes because I read the novel and I was like, "This is everything." Sorry, I don't want to get distracted. Enemy, we watched it like
a year ago.
A year. We were both blown away. We didn't record the podcast. I'm sure we had a very interesting conversation about the movie. So now we're gonna have that recorded for all of you to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember like just mouth watering when we were like just talking about this movie, about like how smart we felt appreciating it to its whole extent. My only fear with this movie is that it's still not too far away, you know? I think that it was like just probably like 3 months, 6 months before we started recording the podcast. So I'm going to remember a lot.
I remember so many scenes like vividly in my mind. We actually, before we started recording, we were talking about a scene specifically. But I don't know. Maybe we'll learn a lesson and that we shouldn't rewatch films so close to each other. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, man. Anything else to say about Run, Lola, Run?
I would just say go see this movie, maybe. I don't know.
You cannot even like just wholeheartedly recommend this movie. Okay, that's completely fair. I get it because I'm on the same page. Okay, man, that was great. Great revisiting Tom Tykwer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, to everyone that is out there listening to us, thank you so much for wasting your life with us.
And wash your hands so that we can keep San Francisco orange.
Bye.